party called Oğuz Türk from South Azerbaijani Independence Party.
Thank you very much. I am honored to be here among very distinguished people, very knowledgeable, and leaders of their community, and scholars, and leaders of the parties and organizations. This is the true International Mother Language Day celebration here. Why I say that? Because truly we see Azerbaijanis, Turkmens, Baluchs, Arabs, and I hope next year or so we will have other non-Persian majority of Iran's representatives to be here. I thank you very much. This was our initiative to have everyone here, not just a lecture from one person. I'm going to speak Turkish too, so I start with English a bit, so everybody I hope understands. I studied about language, about origin of the language, linguistics, and anybody who has any question about language, origin of language, even origin of the diversity of language that leads to the mother tongue. That's the issue. That's where language branches and becomes mother language. So origin of the diversity, the genealogy of the diversity of language is why we see there are two groups of people very close to each other in Europe, mostly in Europe and many areas, even in Caucasus, that they speak different languages in the last let's say 4,000 years of recorded language. There are lots of theories about language, about how the language started in human, and where language sits in the brain, and how it developed. There are many, many theories. There are Chomskyan theories. There are other theories. If we discuss these, it's going to be again a lecture about language. But I can't lecture professors and teachers that I see here. So if anyone, as I said, has any question about language or what happened about the diversity of it, maybe I talk a little bit about the diversity. What happened that we speak different languages? The old account is that there was the Tower of Babel. The religion says this. So humanity wanted to get to the gods, so they made a big tower in Babel, in Babylon, in present Iraq, old Sumeria, and they tried to get to God and to see what's happening in the heavens. And apparently God didn't like this. So what happened when God made them sleep? After they wake up, they were speaking different languages. So mother tongue starts from there. This is one story. But we know this is just a story. Now we know, even though maybe for thousands of years we believed in these. So the God made us different languages. It's God's word.
God wanted us to be separated.
Yes,
like
yes, to be different. Anyone can interrupt, as my professor friend did. Even Quran gives a little funny story. It says, we made you different so you know each other. It's kind of paradoxical. How come you make different to know each other? Already they know each other, so why you make them different? And then they go back and know each other. So it's a little funny, that analogy there. So we don't like that too. Now with the present technology, present science of neurology, we know how language developed and how mother language developed. So today, because it's an International Mother Language Day, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the diversity of how it happens. So again, we think, as Chomskyan theory says, maybe there is an international and universal grammar in the language. So that's why the kids show that they understand actually certain grammar, even if they were not presented with certain language, because kids are ready to accept any language. And there's an idea behind this that maybe kids from the womb of the mother, they they get familiar with the tone and intonation of the language. So if they are presented with different language after their birth, same as like some families in Iran, they teach Persian to their kids, while they're talking Turkish to themselves, or Arabic to themselves, or Kurdish to themselves. So the thing is that apparently the kid gets the intonations and vibrations of a certain language when they're talking together. And the kid grows up, the child grows up, thinking that he's kind of an outsider. So the family, the father and mother talks different language, their language, so it's a mother language, and the kid talks the society's language, the dominant language, the language of the power. Right? The language of the power. It means the language of the person who has the power. So the person who has the power is like a guardian in the jail, and the prisoners, they are trying to talk the guardian's language, same as Persians. Now it's Persians. Imagine if Persian was in the same situation. So it would be same situation. So we have no certain bias against Persians or against any other, or against English in the universal, in the international level, because English is becoming what Persian is happening in Iran. But maybe not by forbidding language, what happened in after 1920s, after the Reza Shah came, after the Qajar. So simply, you cannot learn your language, you cannot teach the language. Maybe the English is not doing this. English is doing by power of the culture, power of the economy, power of capitalism, and what the new name for capitalism is called? Democracy, like bringing democracy to people. So I can talk a lot about this, but about, again, diversity of the language that leads to what we know as mother tongue. Apparently, this is a theory. Theory does not mean, by the way, it's not scientific. Theory means it's a working theory. It's a scientific working theory. Apparently, if a group of people, they possess or they learn by accident a certain knowledge, a certain know-how of doing something, let's say catching fish, let's say hunting, let's say anything that relates to their survival. And then, what do you think? You think they want other people in the other side of the mountain they know what they know? No, it means they want to catch more fish. They want to have more benefits of the worldly benefits. So they would defer their language. They would use different languages so the others would not know. They would basically branch off their own. Even if they were speaking the same language, they would branch off so the others wouldn't understand. Apparently, this is the theory, because there's no other theories that I know about why we have different languages. Because it would be very easy, so everybody speaks the same language. So why we are speaking different languages? In Caucasus, my friend mentioned, apparently 6,000 languages right now being spoken. 3,000 of them are almost dying. In the next 200 years, 90% of them will die too. So we will be left with 100 to 200 languages, English being the first. So we think that is why the mother language developed. So it means we possess certain knowledge, we want other people to know about it. If you worked in the market, in the bazaar, you would know that bazaris, they would have certain language among themselves. So they would create certain language. It's called pidgin, P-I-D-G-I-N, pidgin language. It means they speak something. It's developed like without grammar sometimes. It's just a salad of the words that you say. I mean, only the person who knows what you mean. Other people wouldn't know. Maybe this was there. But apparently, if it goes to the second generation, the same language that was the salad of the words without grammar and stuff, the kids will create their own grammar and create the mother tongue. Koreans, that's called in the world. So, what Iranian government is doing, I'm going to finish with this. What Iranian government is doing, based on what we know as Baldwin effect, it means, well, what is there right now as a mother language, let's say for Turks or for Kurds or for Arabs or Baluchis or Turkmens, doesn't matter. So brings the language of power there and teach it to the children. And the children, they without just knowing, without any unconsciously, they just go sit in the school, they learn the language, okay, the language is good, the TV is speaking, everything is Persian, so because the language of power, newspaper, everything. And speaking Persian is more prestigious. So you're drawn towards it, and then what happens? And then when you want to talk serious, when you want to talk political things, when you want to talk scientific things, and then in the university too. So all educated people, the language of education is Persian, or let's say the dominant language. And what happens when the other language is prohibited, what they learned, what they heard from their mother and father, that looks like the old. It's like belongs to something old. It was something like that. So it separates the brain and mind from what is new and powerful and what is behind. I remember even some names. My friends mentioned that even in Iran you cannot put, let's say, your own language name, Turkish names or other names to kids. Why? Because they look backwardedly. They look like it's something belongs to the old. If you want to put your daughter's name, let's say, Gülzar, or you put something like old, it looks like old. It looks like belongs to villages. But if you want to put something Persian name, it looks like something new or something foreign. That is the area that the separation is created in the brain. That the dominant language, the language of the occupier, Iran, is actually new. It's striving, it's aggressive, it's good, it's language of power, it's more prestigious. So the child even grows up to be a, let's say, university student, still thinks Turkish, or in our case, it's kind of backwardly. It's kind of, it belongs to a village. It's like even the names and stuff. So they would deny that because they want to say, I'm Persian. My family actually, you know, but yeah, maybe they came from there, but they don't. They normally would deny it because they want to. They don't want to belittle themselves by yeah. By thinking that they belong to a lower caste of the people, the second group. They want to be the first, because the first people, the language of power is in the crown. It's in the seat of the crown. That's the Persian language. Now it doesn't matter. It's governed by the Shah's time, or Pahlavis, or Aryan, the Aryan mentality of Pahlavis, or what we know as Islamic Republic of Iran, that there's no sign of Islam in it and there's no sign of Republic in it. It's just Iran and Aryanism. What my friend alludes to is Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's ideology, that basically it's emancipating ideology that would take any nation. Anybody who uses Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's ideology would be free, seriously followed. It's emancipating ideology to take people from bondage of other people. What we know is when Mustafa Kemal was a youngster, there was no Turkey, there was no even Ottomans, there was nothing. All the people were there. Turkish language was, again, as I said, looked backwardly. Turkish was the second, and Arabic was first, and even people would call themselves the nation of Islam, Mohammedans. But when Atatürk in 1938 left us, and now with 1928, and then left us a legacy that gave us a technique and mechanism of emancipation. So Azerbaijani Turks, I invite everyone, even other nations, to follow Mustafa Kemal as the world reveres him, to follow his ideology, his way of freeing people from bondage of occupiers. UNESCO gives a right to even people who are under occupation. Let's say the Gaza is under Israeli occupation right now. Okay, if one country goes and occupies other country right now, or US went and occupied Afghanistan, or US went and occupied, mashallah, almost 50, 60 countries so far last 100 years. What happens from the second we occupy a country? Do we forbid their language? Like, is Arabic forbidden in Gaza? No. So the idea is that even under occupation, people, they have right of their own mother tongue. That's what I'm alluding to. So it's not just every people. Everybody has right of their own mother tongue, whatever they choose to. That is, I think that would conclude about my ideas about mother tongue. I will speak a little bit Turkish too, and then I will end my talk here. Çok sağ olun. Ben teşekkür ediyorum. Yes.
Anything about identity crisis that bring to that, yeah?
Yes.
To preferring Parsi
yes.
names or...
As I was just saying, identity crisis arises from when you are not given an identity by your own people and your history. It's like you're driving a car. I was alluding to